There we go. All right, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight. I know it's late for some of you guys on the East Coast, and some of us might still be getting over our time change, but all's well that ends well. First of all, hope everyone's gotten home safely from those that went to DC Lead this past weekend. Hope that was a good event. And happy 115 years to Delta Sigma Pi, of course. That's the reason we're here tonight. So I don't recall which year it was. I want to say it was 2020. So I'm sure someone's going to correct me in the chat box if I'm wrong, but I believe that's when Old Man Jim from the Cincinnati Alumni Chapter told us about a toast on a free range alumni chapter call or community call about how, I believe it was for the silver anniversary, brothers nationwide, wherever they were, and this is before they had Zoom, mind you, they gathered together, and at the same time, I believe it was 10 o'clock back in that year, everyone had a toast no matter where they were, sort of as a sign of unity. So us being in a pandemic, we thought, okay, we have Zoom now, we can do that, bet. And we did it that year, and we did it in 2021, and well, it's 2022, and it seems like we haven't gotten sick of doing these things just about yet. Plus, it's a great way to get us all together and meet new people, meet new friends, and all that fun stuff. So right now, how it's going to work is if you want to say something or you want to speak, we're first going to have the first 4 speakers that are assigned to talk go, and then just private message me, Vito, if you guys want to say something, or put it in the chat and I'll get you worked in on it. But the first brother that's going to give us our official toast is going to be Brother Shane Borden down in Florida.
You'd think I'd get the mute thing right after 3 years of doing this, right? Anyway, cool. I didn't know I was going first, but this is awesome. So, hey, thank you for having me, and thank you for asking me to do this. It is an honor. So with that, as Vito said, today we're here to celebrate the 115th anniversary of the founding of Delta Sigma Pi. For some of us, it may be our first Founders Day celebration as an alumni, but for others like myself, and I can't believe I'm saying this now, it might be my 25th, and some others here even longer than that, but don't take that the wrong way. What doesn't change, though, and I thought about this quite a bit, was what doesn't change the profound effect that the ones before us have had on us, and the profound effect that we've had on each other, and also the profound effect that we're going to bestow on everyone after us. So that's one thing that I know that all of us on this call have really taken to heart. So as we reflect on what this organization and all the relationships mean to us, the experiences that we have with one another, some of you all talked about DC this weekend and some other special things that have happened. Heck, we even got each other through COVID in a lot of ways like this, right? Let's go ahead and raise our glass and celebrate another successful year of Delta Sigma Pi. I do want to close with one last thought, and I heard this quote the other day. We are the leaders that we've been waiting for, and the world is better because Deltasigs dwelt upon it. Hear, hear.
Cheers to that. What's that other saying, Shane? No matter the chapter, Deltasigs do it better.
I like that one too.
Well, speaking no matter what, we'll jump from Florida over to the state of Texas, where I ain't gonna say what just happened, but baseball fans know what just happened in Texas. Brother Tiffany is gonna talk next.
Thanks for that, Vito. Really appreciate that intro. But I was really nervous when Vito asked me to speak at this. I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to say, but I went to an information about DSP on a whim with some friends, and at the time I was in a really bad place and I didn't want to do much of anything. And so they pulled me to every fundraiser, every meeting, every professional activity. And little by little, DSP helped me figure out my life again. And I promised that when I initiated, I would give back to the fraternity that gave everything to me. And so you know, today is when we celebrate all of that, and to honor those that came before us, to build for those that are coming after us, and most importantly, to be here for those that are standing next to us. Here's to the family that Deltasigs have been to me, and to those brothers that I couldn't live without. I love every single one of you guys. Happy Founders Day, and cheers, brothers.
I've never heard you nervous actually, Tiff. That has to be the first time.
I know, isn't that weird?
I do. Before we get to Janine, I do have to ask, how's your little friend down there doing?
Cody Jr. says hi. He misses you all, and he loves everybody, and he gives all his best and his sloth excellence. So yeah, he's amazing.
For anyone that doesn't know, Arnell, I'm about to spotlight you real quick. That picture, that is Cody Jr. that Tiffany was referring to. So if you know, you know, and if you don't know, I'm sure someone in the comments will gladly explain that. But we're glad to hear Cody Jr. is doing well, and that this little sloth from Cedar Point is still talkative. I had no idea that was possible. But yeah. But moving on to one of our newer brothers in the fraternity and one of the people on staff for the Leadership Foundation, Brother Janine Triplett.
Thank you, Vito. And I have to give you an update on our Founders Day Challenge. I'm so excited. We're up to a little over $83,000 that we have raised. We have till midnight. So it's not too late to make a gift. And we thank everyone, many of you on the call who've already supported the Founders Day Challenge in some way. This is one of the, right now, the second largest amount of money we've ever raised doing something like this. So I want to thank everyone for that, because as we know, it takes a village to do things like the Founders Day Challenge and so many things in Delta Sig. In terms of my toast and thinking about Founders Day, I was very fortunate to be educated in high school by the Sisters of Mercy. My mother sacrificed a great deal. She was a single mom, and she felt it was really important to me for me to go to a single-sex high school. And so I went to a Mercy Academy. And the one thing that sticks in my brain ever since then is the sisters would always say, we stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before us. And as a result, we owe a debt to those who helped set the foundation for who we are today. And I can't think of another saying that's more appropriate with Delta Sig. So our four founders, we stand on their shoulders, and it's our responsibility to keep that, to keep the spirit of Delta Sig alive and well in our alumni and what we do, and the reason why you're all here tonight, and then for the future of Delta Sig. So everything that you do, whether it's your time, talent, and treasure, all plays a huge difference in making sure we're here for those who will stand on our shoulders, right, as we move forward. So given all that, I want to thank you for all you do. And I'd like to make a toast to each of you on Founders Day. So.
Cheers to that a million times. I have to say, Janine, when sometimes when me, Sarah, Cody, Bart, James would all talk about, is this a lady from the Leadership Foundation that just got on staff is really taking a liking to us and coming to the events. I've seen you jump right into fraternity life as a staff member and being so enthusiastic. It might be the Delta Zeta in you, but it's so refreshing and awesome to see. It's like you've been around for ever, honestly, and interacting with you. So it's really cool.
I'm very passionate about fraternal life. So, you know, and Delta Sig is an amazing organization. And I appreciate each of you and all you do to make it what it is today. So thank you, Vito. I appreciate that.
All right. Awesome. Well, now let's jump to Brother Arnell wants to say something. Click unmute, get out. You want to enter the speaker's queue, Arnell.
Sorry, my cat just jumped on my chair behind me, scared the hell out of me. Again, brothers, thanks for being here. This is awesome. Vito, thank you for giving us this venue again, something that you and Molly had started up. It's awesome. Happy Founders Day, brothers. We also have a brother in the room. I saw him log on. So Ty, congratulations. You were initiated 25 years ago today. Tyrone Newsom, he's in there. Again, brothers, this is awesome. I'm coming from the perspective of being an honorary. The cool thing about that is I had one of my kids from Mu Pi chapter who was like, dude, you're an honorary? I said, yeah, you know, doesn't matter how you became a brother. Once you're a brother, you're a brother, you're in it. And ever since that day, almost 19 years ago, I've just been thankful and trying to give back to a fraternity that didn't have to take me in. I'm an honorary. I didn't have a business major. Somehow I became an alumni before I even graduated and got my degree, but you know, we'll give that credit to my ex-wife. But the best thing about this fraternity is the community, the sense of being part of something bigger than yourself, the sense of being able to contribute to other lives and have other lives contribute to yours. And it all comes down to those four guys. And I sat in on Nuke's ritual session, and he went into everything that it took that those four men did so that we could all be here 115 years later. So to that, I say, folks, thank you for being here. Thank you for always being here. And thank you for being here in the future. Cheers.
Cheers to that, Arnell. I have to say, don't you think it was a pretty cool experience, last year, but the year before last, when you got as an honorary initiate to initiate an honorary initiate? That's really gnarly, right?
Awesome. That was awesome. It makes up for me leaving Cody Jr. in the trunk of my car over the weekend. Flat
He only
Cody
had
Jr.,
the flat.
Sorry. Yeah,
he only had the
Cody
flat
Jr.
out, so it's not the teddy bear. But going back down to Florida, and I hear from this Mr. Brother Vic Carello. How you doing over there, Vic?
How's it going, guys? Sorry, I was in a little bit late. I was finishing putting up shutters outside, so unfortunately, Nicole just popped up on the outside. So, God, it's interesting that we're having this today, basically, because as a couple days ago, it was my 33rd anniversary. Okay, as far as being in Deltasig, basically. So, one thing that I wanted to at least piggyback what Arnell just talked about a couple seconds ago was the great thing about this fraternity is the community. Okay, I know that in essence is that in my 33 years there are, and I mean I know there's some brothers that are on the call right now basically that I've known over the years basically for a relatively short amount of time, but then also for a longer amount of time as well too. But again, the connection that we all have basically, okay, as far as for something of a common cause, you know, when it comes down to being a true 100% professional business fraternity, but at the same time, it's the camaraderie. Okay, I mean, again, whenever you get to end up, you know, going to Leeds, okay, or to GCC basically, or any chance that, you know, you can end up traveling to a city that if you're there on business or pleasure or whatnot, basically that you can end up getting together with a couple of brothers to end up having dinner, a couple of drinks. You know, I look at what Ashok ends up doing in London, basically, and that's a fantastic thing what he does. You know, and it's something that's very difficult to do over the long run, basically. So major kudos to Ashok what he does, you know, for the fraternity big time. So, so again, the one thing for me is that it's a love fest that I think we all have for each other, basically, through good times and through bad, basically, and it's something to be appreciated and to always be loved. I mean, one thing I've always told any type of pledges or new brothers as the years have gone by is the love for the fraternity is very hard to end up maintaining over such a long period of time. Okay, but if you truly end up you know, embracing what brotherhood is about in the very concept of what it is, basically, that's the one thing you have to enjoy the most. You know, we'll all have differences of opinion, basically. We'll end up having, you know, different walks of life that we come from, but this is our thing. This is our, as I like to put in Mafia talk, this is our Cosa Nostra, as I like to call it, basically. Okay, so with that being said, cheers and 115 years to this great organization, and may end up thriving for another 115 plus more.
Cheers to that. La Familia, right?
Familia.
But who's the godfather in that respect? Just asking. No. Right now we're gonna have I've been told I should stop saying it, so I should say now, Mr. Old Man Joe gave his infamous toast that we made very infamous now that we have it on the back of a t-shirt. And then I'm gonna say some words, and then we're gonna have a little bit of a sing-along, and then we'll get to the rest of the speakers. So, Old Man Joe, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vito. I think we're going to make this a tradition. But here's a toast. Here's to brothers, now and past, to brothers old and young. And as we welcome future brothers, let us have the patience to learn from each other, to see the best in all. We need to speak wisely, and the will to imagine success. We need the freedom to dream and to foster leadership. That is what makes our brotherhood and makes our friendship survive. Here's to Deltasigs, 115 years old.
Let's see, what are we gonna make a tradition? The toast?
We just did it.
Your toast. I'm gonna get that made into a nice sparkly thing and just put that on my page every Founders Day. This is a great toast. You have to agree, right?
I do.
Yeah. Before next we're gonna have our resident songstress, one of the people I think sings Rosa Delta Sig the best to at least get us moving. She's gonna lead us in a sing-along, so that's when you guys can unmute. But first, I have to give a special shout out to the collegiates at the Alpha Omicron chapter and Iota Phi chapter. I know they've had a tough year, and I know they'd rather be sleeping right now given the day they've had, but they did show up. So I'm a very proud DD right now. So cheers to you guys. But with that being said, go ahead and unmute. And I'm sure all of us know some version of the song, but we're gonna let Chetta lead us in the roles of Delta Sig. And this is meant to be a sing-along, so participation is wanted.
This is going to be interesting. All right, here we go. Rose of Delta Sig, I love you. Rose of Delta Sigma. When the shades of night are falling, I dream of days gone by. As I go life's long journey, memories will never die. I'll always hear you calling. Rose of Delta Sigma Pi.
Yay.
Guys, I gotta say, listening to that back, that was not bad at all, actually. That was not bad.
Apparently your sound is out, but okay.
No, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was a hard echo for me to keep my timing, but it wasn't bad.
Apparently my mute stayed muted all the time. Woohoo!
Chetta, you rock the house every time.
Conchetta, you did a phenomenal job.
Oh,
Yes, as
thank you
usual.
guys. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Kleenex required.
Yes. Well, before I say that, also, I want to say to my brother from the Boston Alumni Chapter, which I'm president of, and a fellow Zeta Xi, like myself, Tyrone, congratulations on your 25 years. Yes. That's Cape Bud, brother. Cheers to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then
That's Dr. Tyrone to you.
that's right, Dr. Tyrone, Dr. Newsom. That's right. Did you want to say anything, Ty, or are you good?
No, thank you. And it's much for like a lot of people have said here. It's been, I still can't believe it's been 25 years because it hasn't felt like it. And it's really been about the people. And I love the relationships I build. I love being a part of this organization and what it's done for me and what I'm able to kind of give back to it. So thank you all for your persistence, your dedication, your love, your honesty, your authenticity, all that you all bring to this organization, whether collegiate or alumni. It is what drives this institution to be better, to reach that higher standard. So I am greatly humbled to be a part of this group and looking forward to what the future holds. Thank you all for the well wishes. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Tyrone. Congratulations again. Double time, doctor, and 25 years. Next up, we're gonna have Stacy Jordan, and then we're gonna have our resident Cincinnati folks, Mr. Jim and Miss Gail Gearhart, and then Mark Robbins. And if anyone else wants to say something after that, just shoot me a message and we'll get you on. Stacy, floor is yours.
You're on mute.
Okay, I'm on mute. I was talking and thought everyone's hearing me. So I'm in my kitchen, so forgive me if I'm a little bit back and forth. But congratulations to the silver helmets. It's you never know, it comes up and all of a sudden it's here. And believe me, I can see my my helmet plaque in my living room across from my kitchen. So for those who got a chance to be at Dallas this weekend, I think I talked to almost everybody who came. Thank you. It was nice being able to be 40 minutes down the road. So I didn't have to actually travel, which is kind of weird, but still it was fun to see a lot of people come into the area. It's a unique thing for me. You know, not only is the fraternity's birthday this week, but my home chapter, Epsilon Chi chapter, is Wednesday. So as a DD for them, Wednesday would be 59 years of them being a chapter. And at Georgia Southern, the trivia question is they were the first Greek anything on that campus. So Delta Sigma Pi started the Greek tradition at Georgia Southern. At that point, it was Georgia Southern College. So 115 years of the organization, and like I said, special significance for me, for my home chapter, of us celebrating our birthday in the same week, which is not too many chapters that actually say that. For those who are collegiate, a lot of times you don't understand what 4 years is. You know, when we say 4 years, it's not just 4 years, but it's for life. There's many of us who have dedicated most of our post-college life to being a member of this organization. And if you haven't learned anything else, we have passion from there being an honorary to those who have been initiated, you know, close to 5 decades. And so we toast today to the bonds of brotherhood and making sure that we always continue to have those bonds going forward. Cheers to everyone.
Cheers to that, Stacy. Indeed, definitely. I just want to definitely say the thinking about 25 years of the fraternity, definitely nowhere near my 25 years. Yeah, no, not coming in down there.
It'll be here before you know it.
Anytime soon. But I do realize in a couple months my 10-year is going to be up, and I remember someone asking, you know, was anyone going to get it, you know, that 10-year plaque for me? But it doesn't feel like it's been 10 years. It feels like it's been, honestly, I think I can remember being initiated like it was almost yesterday. So it was a great thing, and it's great to see everyone getting their helmets and reaching those milestones. Jim and Gail, you're up.
No, it's Gail. Jim came home from Chicago today. I've got my White Sox swag from our daughter Claire, who works for the White Sox. I got a hat, a scarf, so I put that on. I'm pretty overwhelmed that my 45th anniversary is November 21st. That's just this month. Thank you. Thank you. Pretty overwhelming. You know, Deltasig was a big part of my life. And then I met this guy. And we've been married now 37 years. So we have friends, not only together, but even before we met each other. And there's hope for everybody. We only dated 2 months before we got engaged, before he asked me to marry him. And all I could say to my father was, you can't say a thing because you only dated my mom for 6 weeks. And he didn't. So, you know, things do last. And wanted to say that to everybody who hadn't heard me like blast that this weekend or at St. Louis. Second, I want to put in another plug for the Cincinnati Alumni Chapter's 8th annual open house at the central office. If you're nearby or far away, please join us this Saturday from 1 to 4 at the central office. If you don't know, it's more than just a bunch of offices. It's really a history of our fraternity. And we will have tours and, you know, some snacks and brotherhood. And we've always gotten positive comments about that. Jim and I both went to St. Louis. So thanks to everybody who we saw there. And Bill Stabelski, he's not on my screen right now. I want to, oh, he's right there. Bill, this is the wine that I wanted to give you. And my daughter cut me off until 10 o'clock. So this is the second bottle. And now that it's after 10 o'clock, I can drink it. So I'm going to, Jim thought I threw him under the bus by telling you that, no, don't bring wine. You know, we just have like, we only brought these fruity wines. So we still owe you, Jim still owes you that.
Yeah, I love our Deltasig wine connoisseurs. We can learn a lot from
and
them.
then Dulles, Tyrone, I want to say to you specifically, I'm glad you recognized me. And even though I did not remember you specifically, you obviously know my husband, and I enjoyed meeting you or re-meeting you, whichever that was. So you got you got like 20 years to catch up, okay? 20 plus 25 equals 45. So it was great to meet you and see you this weekend. I want to thank Stacy Jordan for meeting Mary Miracle and I Tuesday night in DC for dinner. And then on Friday, the three of us had lunch in Old Town Alexandria, walked along the river walk, and we shared a cab up to the hotel, the three of us. So spent a lot of time with Stacy, and I appreciate that, Stacy. So thank you very much for your hospitality out there. And I just convinced Jim to go to Newark because he didn't want to go to Newark. And you're not like going to Newark, you're going to see your friends and new brothers, meet people and old friendships and so forth. So that's the purpose. It's not really the location for the most part. So, you know, I know a lot of you on this call, many of you probably don't know me specifically, but I am the president of the award-winning
Don't rub it in,
Cincinnati alumni
Cincinnati.
chapter. Thank you very much. So, actually, 90% of the work is done by Mary Miracle and my husband, Jim. So I want to make that perfectly clear that I just say, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Go do it. And we are the only chapter, alumni or collegiate, that won 2 national awards. Mary Miracles noticed that. So we are a gold chapter, and we won the National Outstanding Collegiate Relations for an alumni chapter. Want to say it right? And Outstanding Professional Activities, in addition to being a gold, right? Gold level alumni chapter. So I want to thank everyone for helping us do that. And you know, we're not as big as some other alumni chapters, but I think we do a lot. And the purpose is to be brothers and teach and mentor and guide our collegians, right? Everybody agree with that? Yeah, that's why we're here. So thank you. Any questions? Questions from the floor?
Yeah,
I mean, I
maybe after
remember when
the-
Deb Lang was initiated. I mean, that's a while ago. Jim and I are both past presidents of the Boston Alumni Chapter, for those of you who didn't
Oh,
know.
boy.
We lived there 10 years.
Oh yeah, let's not go there. That's like
That's
we'll
right.
save those
I saw
stories
Mark
for after the
Robbins being
club.
initiated. Although he is older than me, I want to always make that point. He knows that. Yes, he was initiated after me. So cheers to you, Mark. We can talk later about our travel plans to Houston and how we are going to incorporate baseball into our travel plans at another time. So thank you. Jim, you want to say anything else? I covered it all. He doesn't have to say anything. You know,
I think
happy
you got that
life,
one.
happy life. What else is there? That kind of sums it up. Jim?
I'm learning that one. Yeah.
Quick things. Yeah, because Tyrone didn't make it to the Chicago.
Jim, I
Days.
can't really hear you.
Oh, well,
Better.
because Tyrone didn't make it to the Chicago Alumni Chapter Founders Day meeting because he was in Washington. I finally had the opportunity to essentially be, the travel award winner. Because usually Tyrone always beats me out somehow, no matter where he's located. Except that, the one time, the brief time that he might have been in Chicago again, but so I don't point that out. And on this call, I think even though I've known Gail obviously a very long time, I think I've known Mark the longest. Boy, we met in 1980.
It seems like forever.
Yeah. Forever plus a few years, So, I've fortunately, been making friends, with my fellow brothers certainly since that time. At least the people on this call, and continue to add to that list. So, thanks to all of you.
Cheers, brother Joe. Cheers to you also, Gil.
Thanks,
Hey,
Vito.
I guess speaking of Mark Robbins, you're up next.
Well, this year is like a really kind of a milestone year for me. As Gail said, I've been a brother for 44 years, and Gail was saying that she and Jim knew people separately in the fraternity longer than they were married, and I knew both of them. Some of you have heard this story before, but I think it was 40 years ago, the fraternity had their 75th anniversary in Cincinnati at one of the hotels downtown. And in fact, they gave out a coin. I'm holding the coin here. This was the 75th anniversary coin that everyone that went attended. So anyway, I had moved out of Cincinnati. I was back in New York. And of course, because I went to University of Cincinnati and the 75th anniversary was in Cincinnati, there was no way I wasn't going to go back. So I was rooming, my roommate was Al Gordon, who was the former Collegian of the Year. And so we flew out to Cincinnati and we had a hotel room. And so Al says to me, you know, there's these two guys that I kind of know from Chicago and they don't have a hotel reservation. Do you care if they sleep on the floor? And I said, no, I don't care. So the two guys were Tom Bugs Moran and Jim Gerhardt. Anyway, so that's how I met Jim. And Gail, obviously I had already known, but the anniversary is 40 years ago. And it was a great time. It was a great weekend. It was good for me because being that I had gone to the University of Cincinnati from Alpha Theta, it was nice to go back. But I've been a brother for 44 years. And, you know, that to me, that's pretty significant. The other significant thing is that the Alpha Theta chapter is going to be celebrating their 100th anniversary in 2024. So I'm going to go, and I'm taking this opportunity to let everybody know that we're going to be celebrating it and you're all invited to come to it. So I'm not exactly sure what the plans are, but the chapter is planning a nice celebration. The thing I really just wanted to say is that Delta Sigma Pi, being active in Delta Sigma Pi is like planting seeds. And so in 44 years, I look at, a lot of the faces that I see here and, Deb Lang, when I became Eastern, at that time they called them regional directors, now they're regional vice presidents. I was told, don't even try to New England, don't try to do anything with Delta Sig in New England because it's not really prime area for Delta Sigma Pi. And I never believed that. We never tried, we had in the old Eastern region, we had all the state schools, State University of New York, and we never really made an effort to go into New England. And I said, nah, we're gonna do it. Well, there was I appointed a district director named Beth Keith, who had just moved there. And we planted seeds. I didn't really do a whole lot. I just had some really good people that were district directors and active. Jim and Gail, you might not know this, but they lived in Quincy, Mass at the time. And we planted those seeds and look at what New England is now. Okay, they did all the work. All I did was just say, hey, I think we ought to go for it. And now we have a whole bunch of chapters there. And I'm really proud of that because.
And I'm going to interrupt you, Mark.
Yep.
And say thanks to Nick Steinkraus.
And Nick Steinkraus, I was going to get to that.
Don't forget Nick.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It breaks my heart every time I think of him.
Yep.
I miss
no,
him
I was
so
going to
much.
get to that. Nick,
okay.
Nick.
Don't forget Nick.
No, he was the lone Suffolk University Delta Psi person that, was really had his heart in it the whole time. And, because of Jim and Gail's efforts and Beth's efforts and certainly Nick's efforts and a whole bunch of people's efforts. And, else I'm forgetting? Ann Baumer. Ann Baumer also was up there and, did a really good job. But anyway, what I'm really trying to say is it's really all about planting seeds. And, if you can go somewhere and you can do something and motivate a couple of people, it makes all the difference in the world. And, that's how the fraternity's grown and how the fraternity has grown. And that's what you all do. That's what all the leaders do is they plant the seeds and, then you have a lot more hands helping out and you spread the word and just good things happen. So yes, I will always remember Nick and I'll remember the whole crew in New England. And I also want to mention the crew on Long Island did a great job also. And what can I say? Happy anniversary, happy 115th. And I hope you see you all at the 100th anniversary of the Alpha Theta chapter.
Okay, and I want to add, Mark, and to everyone, there is a case at the central office that displays a lot of the paraphernalia. specifically from Nick Steinkraus, including his 75th anniversary medallion, coin, whatever you call it. So when you come to this coming Saturday, you can see that. And Nick collected badges when he would see them for sale, because as we all know, or reminded, that we do not own our badge. The fraternity owns our badge. And when he would see it for sale on the internet, like eBay or whatever, he would bid on those. And he collected those badges, and they were given to from his family to the fraternity. I don't know who specifically. And that box of badges and other reminders and items were given to us when we had the regional in Danvers, Massachusetts, outside of Boston. And they went in our trunk and they came to Taylor Mill, Kentucky, and we took them off for a while. They were here. And then we drove them up the next time we were going to Oxford, Ohio. And that's how, they got up there. And I had no idea until we had one of these open houses that they had put all these items in one of those cases that you can look down and see in. And I was so full of love and heartache because I missed Nick terribly. But it was great to see that he has been honored in that way. So I don't know if you knew that, Mark, that there's a case of Nick's paraphernalia fraternity that he had collected over the years. So yes, right, Deb? We know, you remember Nick, and a number of you hopefully have met Nick and got to know him, because he didn't know me. Jim had just met him, and what is he doing? He's carrying boxes up to our first apartment in Quincy, Massachusetts. Why? Because we were brothers in need.
Because he was Nick.
Because he was Nick. He was a brother. We were brothers in need of another set of hands to help move to a second floor apartment. And there he was. So those are my, and through Nick, I met Beth Keith. So thank you.
Yeah, Iota Phi, you're up next. I should say Tony or Ulysses, whichever one of you two wants to go first, but I think Tony was going to go first.
I'll go ahead and go. So, hi everyone, my name's Tony. I'm from the Iota Phi chapter of Fresno State, California. I pledged back in fall of 2021, and I'm still relatively new, still learning about DSP. One of the reasons why I joined DSP is because I'm kind of a shy individual, just trying to get out there, get out of my comfort zone, try to meet new people, talk to people. One thing I have benefited from the fraternity is being able to take on leadership roles and just be able to work on my communication skills. I know that's one thing I've always struggled with, but being around the brothers and leaderships, I've become more confident in myself and been a lot more talkative than I normally would be. But yeah, just learned great experiences being in the fraternity, and I'm sure my brothers at Iota Phi shared those same experiences. That's all I got. So I'd like to take a moment and give a toast for 115 years DSP.
Nice job, Tony. Nice job. Lizzie, still there?
Okay. So my name is Yulisa Gomez. I'm also from the Iota Phi chapter. We pledged the same class, me and Tony. So I'm also relatively new, but I've had the opportunity to go and see what the Delta Sig life is outside of the chapter, and I really like that. And I like seeing that a lot of other people are really passionate about DSP in general, because that was the one thing that really convinced me to join DSP, seeing the alumni, seeing our founders still come back to our events and showing how passionate it is and just a brotherhood that we could really develop. And I appreciate a lot the relationships that I have built during the time that I've been in DSP, and I hope that I continue to grow on those relationships. And that's it. Cheers.
Tony, Ulysses, when did you guys pledge again? What semester was that?
Fall of 2021.
So I gave you guys were my first round of pledges that I gave the DD phone calls to. I'm just gonna say this before we get to Derek and Sarah. Having been your DD last year, I know how hard that year was for you guys, and I know how much I've seen you grow since the time you were pledged. That's night and day, honestly. Like crap, that's Mary Moon, if you remember how I was as a Legion compared to me now, those two last when they were pledging to now, same thing. I know you guys are up against a hard decision of what you have to make, and obviously it's a heartbreaking decision you have to make, but just know I can personally say I'm very proud of you. I'm sure Cody is very proud of you as well, and I'm proud of everything you've done up to this point to keep your chapter of excellence reign going and keeping the chapter alive the best that you have. Because I can say there's some great brothers on this call, but I think given every circumstance you came up against, even in the time you guys were pledging that you didn't know about and the chapter still standing somehow, you guys need to be extremely proud of yourselves no matter what anyone says. That's to you and to Simran and to all of Iota Phi, including the officers last year that got through that hard year, the ones going through it now. So you guys keep your heads up and be very proud of yourselves for what you have accomplished and have been doing to keep the chapter going.
I appreciate it.
And congrats on sweeping the Sierra Nevada region on basically all the awards. Just gonna put that out there. Awards ain't everything, but I said what I said. Sarah, Atlanta, Mercer.
Yeah, so I just got back from Atlanta's Founders Day dinner. You might know us as the nation's most outstanding alumni chapter to some of the other alumni chapters. But we had a taco bar. We had a taco bar at our dinner, and the taco bar got me thinking about how you put together these different things that you wouldn't think should go together, and you end up with a taco, which I think most of us can agree is pretty amazing. So that seems like a good metaphor for our brotherhood and what we have here. We're a lot of different people from different backgrounds who you maybe wouldn't think go together, but we come together and we've made this incredible brotherhood. I've met people and learned from people that I otherwise wouldn't have. I've made friends that I probably wouldn't otherwise be friends with. And together we've made something pretty amazing. So here's to our brotherhood, to tacos, and to Delta Sigma Pi.
Now, why you gotta bring tacos into this? Why do you gotta bring tacos into the craziness? Tacos are perfect food, and I'll see you in the
And we are a great organization, just like tacos. I think they go together.
On the East Coast,
So
we're
my
93
favorite
minutes away from Taco Tuesday, by the way.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Sarah, I guess her friend Cody has been requested to say something. I'm not gonna say by who, but Cody, you have the floor.
Thank you for whoever requested me to speak. I appreciate it. I would like to say toast to Delta Sigma Pi. It is great to be part of this group. And one of the reasons why I joined the organization to begin with is community to begin with. And with all the different communities that we have formed, with all the different alumni groups, starting with my local Reno alumni, my Sierra Nevada region alumni, and all my Iota Phi brothers too in the room as well. I just think all these different groups with FLAC and then with the other different Facebook groups and the Toastmasters groups. I saw that in the chat floating around, I think. So a toast to community and toast to all of you guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers indeed, Cody. Mr. Frack, Mr. Cody Sr. Sierra Nevada.
Toast
Roller
to
Coaster.
all those sloths out there. Cody Jr.
Jesus BFFs. Oh gosh. About we have Leon Niles, hailing from Michigan, right?
Michigan now. Upstate New York originally, Texas for a while, so been all over the country.
I can empathize.
People have asked me. I was in DC this last weekend, and it was very interesting because I met a bunch of students from Kappa Lambda State University at Binghamton, a chapter that I had the privilege and honor of getting started as Sigma Mu Beta when Joe Krupke and myself were grad students at Binghamton. And it was interesting. They asked a couple of very interesting questions and made a couple of very interesting statements. One of them is, what made you want to start a chapter? And that got me thinking about that. And why did we do that? And it was my answer became really simple. I said, because I knew what Deltasig was. I had been fortunate to have a great district director in Dick Parnitsky, a great chapter advisor in William Beatty at RIT. And I knew what this fraternity was all about and just how important it was. And it was very easy for me to explain that to them, that it was a family, that it was a brotherhood, and it was the opportunities to learn and grow in a safe environment. And then we got to talking about the fact that chapter has now got well over 1,000 members. And it made me feel real good. They said, please come back and visit us. We want you to come back to campus and visit us. So it made me think about that. It got me thinking again about how much this fraternity means to me. I married a Delta Sig. I've got 2 kids that are Delta Sigs. I have got Delta Sig friends all over the country. Many are on this call here. And it's just like, so when people ask, why do you do it? Or why do you stay involved? This is why, because it's in my heart, it's in my mind, it's in my blood. And I can't imagine not having this fraternity in my life. So cheers to 115 years, and cheers to all of you, my friends or future friends.
Thanks, Leon. And since I haven't seen you, I didn't have a chance to tell you congrats on getting Huron District Director of the Year Award this past fall. So congrats to you on that.
But it's been a challenge. Still is, but we're having fun.
I know probably more better than anyone on this call that one.
Yep.
So Mary Moon, the infamous.
Oh my goodness, I have to follow Leon. Oh my gosh. All right.
It could be Derek. I mean,
I know, but this is a close second because honestly, now I have to regroup. I was going to keep it very simple because honestly, this has been a very challenging year. Thank you, kind sir. For keeping the faith in the fraternity or a challenging couple of years because things have just been challenging and different. But Founders Day brings me back to the purpose and the reasons that the founders founded the fraternity. And I'm so appreciative for their perseverance that it makes my qualms feel really, really small. And so I'm still very blessed and very thankful for this fraternity that I joined April 10th, 1999. And had I not joined this fraternity, I would not know my wonderful partner in crime, who is in a totally different state right now, Norman, no middle initial Kronberg. And I would not know so many of my other best friends in life, and best people that I could ever imagine knowing. So when all else fails, when the country is in complete and utter chaos, just remember that when you know your fraternity members, you know people that have higher standards, and you know people that you can rely on in good times and bad. And like I believe someone said before me tonight, maybe Shane Borden, maybe the world is better because we're all dwelling upon it and we're brothers. So keep the faith. Keep the faith in the fraternity and keep the faith in your brothers, because we will prevail and we will always keep to the higher standard. So cheers to the higher standard.
Thank you, Mary. And give our regards to Brother Storm and Norman, wherever he may be. Brother Jeanette from St. Louis, St. Louis, soon to be neighbor-ish, have to say.
Neighbor-ish.
Well, I'll be across the river.
I was gonna say, yeah, you'll be on the other side of the river, but you know what? What's there? What's this little thing like the Mississippi? So I've been thinking about how I would describe, because I've had family members ask, why do I stay involved in Delta Sigma Pi? And with Founders Day, I always revisit that question. And so I wanted to share my reasoning. When I joined, I was a very shy, wannabe music major, but knew that I would never make money majoring in music. So I went to business school instead and realized I was getting close to graduating and didn't hang out with people in my own department. So I needed to fix that. And I walked into a Meet the Chapter event and went, where have these people been my entire undergrad, up until now? Why was I not hanging out with these people? And then I got involved on a national level and truly became blessed. And the reason I stay involved and the reason I donate to the foundation is for the next shy, timid person who knows there's more and knows they can be more, but doesn't know how to make it happen. And with Delta Sig and with the support of my brothers, I have grown, and I know I have the tools to always be more than I think I can be. And so I would like to say, here's a toast to 115 years. And I will do another shameless plug for Toastmasters, the Delta Sig Toastmasters group, and definitely check us out.
Thanks for that, Jeanette. We're gonna have Zillard, Brother Zach Hillard from the Alpha Omicron chapter, say something now.
Don't know if my video is working. There it is. Hello everyone, I'm a current member of Alpha Omicron. I'm a senior and I joined fall of 2019, so it's been 3 years. It's been crazy how fast it's gone. And I just want to give a toast out to like all the brothers nationwide, all the brothers around the world actually, and then also the Alpha Omicron chapter. First heard about DSP and from a person in Canada I was vacationing in Canada in a campsite that you can, the only way to get there is a 30-minute boat ride. So I just was on a dock just sitting there, and this guy was just talking to me. He's like, "Oh, how old are you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm 19. I'm about to be a freshman in college." He's like, "Oh, what are you majoring in?" I'm like, "Oh, business." And he's like, "Oh, you should check out this business fraternity called Delta Sigma Pi." And I just love thinking about that. That's like how I first heard about Delta Sigma Pi, was through some person that I don't even know his name. I only met him once, and it's up in Canada. I just know he's from like New Jersey or somewhere around there. But it's just crazy. And then just like all the brothers I've met, just throughout wherever I'd go, how friendly and helpful they are. So I just want to give a toast to that, and I just want to give a toast to the Alpha Omicron chapter individually for basically developing me and changing who I am, because I am a completely different person from 3 years ago. And I am so grateful because I've truly met my best friends in the entire world through DSP, and I'm just extremely grateful. I'm so happy I joined DSP 3 years ago as a freshman, and here's to forever. So cheers.
Very well done, Zach. Very well done. Before I hand it over to Big Brother Derek to seal us out for the night, just want to say thank you all for showing up tonight. Definitely, again, I got to shout out Alpha Omicron and Iota Phi, who currently still are my kids, but also Omega Tau and Zai, who couldn't be here tonight, but I DD'd for last year. Why I DD'd for 4 chapters at the same time, because didn't know how to say no, and then fell in love with the kiddos, and they needed me, and that was basically the end of that story. And at least they think I was a halfway decent DD. Well, I mean, I crashed with Zach when I went down there, so I think he thinks I'm pretty awesome, at least with the Froyo visit. But definitely, DSP has been definitely a roller coaster ride for me. Go from being a very shy, very timid person, very not out, just didn't want to be around anyone, didn't know how to talk to people, to eventually developing into much of that. And I have to give justice where it's due. DSP was definitely it was the biggest part of that development. I'm glad to see that some of the kids nationwide that are getting that. I can definitely say, even for Tony, Ulissa, Zach, Maddie, just in the short time I've even known them, I can see how their experience in DSP has shaped them. And whether they go on to alumni life or not, they have that to continue with. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I can definitely say I never thought I'd be one of the brothers saying this, but I gotta give DSP his chops. Even though I did not want to go to Cleveland GCC, I did. And if I didn't go to Cleveland GCC, I wouldn't be a married guy. And I'm married to a brother. Yeah, that last part, never thought I would ever freaking say. But gotta give justice where it's due. It's been I'm sure, wild 115 years. The fraternity's changed so much in that short time frame, long time frame, but it's probably a short time frame in the grand scheme of things. As long as the fraternity keeps going, I'm sure when it reaches 500 years, the first 115 might just be a shadow of the past. I've enjoyed my time at DSP, and I'm sure all the brothers that are left to continue that legacy, after my departure, are gonna keep doing great things. Cody's going to keep doing some crazy things. I'm sure some of them are going to be great, but some crazy things as well. But that's how you have to do it. And just, as Mary said, we all, or it may not be married, but someone said, we all get what we get out of the fraternity, but we also get good memories out of it. It's not about where we go or what these conferences are for, but it's the friends we make and the lifelong impact it has on us. And whether we step away or permanently walk away from it, or we stay active throughout our entire lifetime still, the day we die, like Nick Steinkraus did, we've all done something to make the fraternity good, whether people knew about it, whether people appreciated it, whether we only affected one person, there's still affecting one person still is a lot to that one person. If we affected hundreds of them, well, you get the message from there. So cheers to 115 years. And I guess I can't wait to see what you guys do at 116 and the rest of them. I'm sure I'll be hearing about it. Cheers. And with that, Big Brother Derek, why don't you take us home?
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So Zach, the speech you just gave before Vito just started talking, this will probably resonate with you and your fellow brothers, your fellow collegiate brothers that are on the call right now. If you look behind me, there's something behind my head. There's two paddles on the wall, along with my diploma, but that my head covers up. Those paddles were given to me by two of the three little brothers that I have when I was a collegiate brother in the fraternity. I couldn't tell you today where one of those little brothers are. Ever since we graduated, there's been no contact. I have no idea where she is. I don't have any idea if she's still in the States or what. Couldn't tell you. The other one, we did connect on Facebook, but we don't talk. The first night that I went to the Meet the Chapter event, when I was 19 years old at the University of South Carolina, I remember the week before, me and a friend of mine, we went to a recruiting event session, a week-long recruiting event session with the other business fraternity. We'll just leave it at that. They were trying to form on campus, and we went to that. So similar to Zach, the story you talked about when you spoke, there was a flyer at an elevator, two flyers. 1 week was that fraternity, and 1 week was our fraternity. We looked at each other and said, you need to get involved in the business school, so let's do both and see what happens. Went to the first one, everything was fine, I have nothing ill to say about it, it was great, it was a good time. And we said, okay, but we said we were going to do both, so let's go to the other one and see what happens. I remember night one walking into that Meet the Chapter event, and the way people were dressed, the way the confidence that was coming from the people that we were meeting, the way the room was set up, the warm greetings that we got from everyone that had never met us before, all tried to make an impression on us just like we were trying to make an impression on them. That night left such a lasting impression on me about where it was I knew that I needed to be. At that moment, I said, this is it. I'd forgotten everything that I did the week before. I said, this organization is where I need to be. This is it. And I bring this story up because something that Zach mentioned when he was talking, when we have get-togethers like this, or we see each other at national events, we always see the group of us, or a lot of us see this, we formed our own little mini fraternity within a fraternity. We have our people, and these are our people that we see, we've met, we've formed these bonds, and we talked about 40 years people have been bonded and have seen and talked to each other across the nation, like these are my people. And there is an unspoken, or I should say underappreciated set of brothers out there that have formed, or has just as important as forming the passion that I have for this fraternity than the ones that I see on calls like this and at national events. And those are the brothers at my home chapter that never set foot at a lead, never set foot at a grand chapter, and never will. But their part of this 115 years is just as solid as the ones that I do see at national events, that I do see. And why? Because the 2.5 years that I was a student, they were Deltasigs to me. I was one of the ones that branched out to learn about Deltasigs being much bigger than what it is. It's much bigger than my home chapter. And I'm grateful to them, even though they weren't the ones that physically showed me that. They provided an understanding and a love for my chapter to want me to want to know more and branch out to be able to meet all of you guys. So my toast tonight is going to be for those members that we don't see at these events, those brothers that during the time that Deltasig was a part of their story, they helped shape my story in ways that they'll never get any credit for. And I'm sure everyone in this room will be able to say the same thing for those that went through that experience, good or bad. Whether your experience was a positive one or it was a negative one, and this is and things like this are the ones that are keeping you active. Whichever way it went, we're all Deltasigs. And for 115 years, that's what's been helping this torch get carried. And we hope that that torch continues to carry. So for the students that are on this call tonight, that are going through this right now, that these are the friends that some of the best friendships you're forming are the ones that you have right now. Hold on to that, because it'll be very unlikely that the same people that you think are your closest friends today will be your closest friends 10 years from now, and that's okay. Some of them will be, some of them won't be, but that's all helping to form your experience as a Delta Sig, and it can only grow from there. What you do with this is completely in your court. But for the fraternity to have lasted this long, it took those brothers to help you be where you are and what you're doing to help them be where they are. Shane started us off in his opening toast saying, we are the leaders that we want to be. We are the brothers that we are. We are meant to be where we are today, and we are who we are today. 115 years has brought us to this point. Don't take that for granted. Appreciate those that you may not see that helped our story be where it is. And let us continue forward with wherever our heart passion is, or if this was one of the things that might be your first and only time you ever do something like this. Thank you for choosing to be a part of this today, and spread that passion however you want to do it with your fellow brothers. And remember, this organization is much bigger than any of us, and we hope that it will continue to be here for another 115 years and beyond. Cheers to all the brothers. Much love and appreciation. Thank you for being in Delta Sig from the bottom of my heart. Cheers.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Frack.
Thank you.
You're on mute, Vito.
I was like, if somebody's talking, just.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah. No, saying thank you for everyone that came out tonight. Definitely a song while Derek was talking that I was thinking of was by Lady Annabelle, now Lady A, was I Was Here, and it definitely hits home to what you were saying of, big impact, small impact, whether you get an award for it, whether you get recognition for it, everyone makes an impact in someone's life. And when it comes to DSP, there's no way that this fraternity would have survived 115 years, let alone the last 2 years, given the pandemic, if everyone wasn't playing some small part, whether it's paying your dues, whether it's supporting the Leadership Foundation, whether it's just doing the best you can to be a good brother to someone. I definitely can, as many times that there weren't great times, I'm definitely going to look back on the last 10 years of my life and think of the great friends, great associates, and great mentors I had in it. One of them being Mary Miracle, who was talked about earlier from the Cincinnati Alumni Chapter, who found me at my first lead. I got sent there by myself in my chapter with no instructions on what to do or how to do it, and just picked me up and showed up. And there's plenty of brothers throughout my time in DSP, especially the last 2 years, that have made an impact, and especially my collegiates, because definitely sometimes again that text saying, Vito, you're awesome, or saying thank you when you think you're the crap DD, it's always a great feeling from there. So it's always, Founders Day may be over, but it's never a time to stop thinking about what we've done for the fraternity and what the fraternity's done for us, and definitely not reflecting on the 115 years in the past, because sometimes a little self-reflection is how we know how to move forward, especially as we go into our next in-person GCC in Houston. You don't need to live in the past, but sometimes dwelling on it is how you can appreciate the now. Because if we didn't have a past, the future we're in, that's our present, wouldn't be here. So with that, I'm going to say happy 115 years. Good night. And wait for the magic words.
I got something I got to say, Vito. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just have to say it. I had the pleasure of meeting Vito in Indianapolis. We shared a hotel room.
Yes, you did. Yes,
which was my first opportunity to meet you. And it was when I had just come back from being away for a fairly extended period of time. But I have to say, through the pandemic, FRAC did what Deltasig has always done. It rose to the challenge. It showed up. It gave the brothers something that we needed, that we didn't even know we needed, but we needed. And we've taken advantage of it for the last 2.5 years. And so thank you. I know you and Molly kind of kickstarted this whole thing, but thank you very much for keeping us going. It has meant the world to a number of us and has kept us well connected across the country, across the globe. And this third toast, Founders Day, has been fantastic as always. So thank you. And I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to recognize that as well as we go forward. We are different and we will never be the same. Y'all take care.
Thank you, Gil. Yeah. The more I sit and think about it, that time in Indy, I will say this, had things gone differently and no one reached out, I probably would have become that lost little collegiate, that whatever, but it is.
We don't lose our lambs.
Our lambs. Oh, being from North Central, that has another meeting, but thank you everyone for being here tonight, and let me stop the recording and the live stream. So give it about 5 seconds.